Hello dear students. Today, let's discuss a part of professional writing. You all know that communication is a part and parcel of our life. And in order to communicate within the various sections of an organization, we use different channels of communication, such as face-to-face communication, communication over the telephone, or through email. Now, in this presentation, I'm going to discuss one such channel of communication which is used within an organization, and that is a memo. Let us first know the definition of memo. Memo is the abbreviated form of memorandum. You should note down the point that memorandum is a Latin word which means to be remembered. To define a memo, it can be said that memo is a form of internal communication and is sent to other people within the same organization. Now, to know more about memos, we should first deal with the characteristic traits of memos. First characteristic is that memos are used to communicate something within an organization. Now, if you want to write someone at a different company, what would you do then? In that case, you would use a letter instead of a memo. Second point, memo is used by all members of an organization irrespective of their designation, ranging from junior executives and engineers to chief executive officers. Third point, memos are not used to place orders. That's right. To place orders, we use business letters instead of memos. Fourth point, memos are not used to invite people as well. Fifth point, memos can be sent by internal email. Finally, unlike business letters or emails, which are meant for external communication, in memos, neither the salutation part like dear or respected, nor the complimentary part like yours sincerely or yours faithfully is required. Now students, you should remember that you should note down the point that the format of a memo is flexible and it may vary from one organization to another. However, the standard heading consists of a series of clearly labeled lines. These labeled lines play a vital role in memo writing because the key information about the memo's contents and its distribution is conveyed through them. The first element in a standard memo heading is the label memorandum, so your readers know exactly what they are receiving. Then aligned to the left side of the margin label to, from, date, subject serially. Let me now explain the purpose of these four labels. To line is used to mention the designation of the recipient. From line is used to mention the designation of the sender. In the date line, include the date, write the complete date, spell out the month including the date and year. In the subject line, write down the subject. It should be specific and concise. The subject should convey a brief indication of the topic. The subject will give the reader an idea of what the memo is about. In this way, you should format the heading, right? Next, we come to the purpose and classification of memo. Memo is no doubt a convenient means to reach a wide number of people at once. Even a wide range of subject matter can be presented in memo form, such as to convey information regarding changes in procedures, meeting schedules, price increases, policy additions. Memos can be used. Now, depending on their purpose, memos are classified into three distinct categories: documentary, congratulatory, and disciplinary. Let us now discuss these three categories one by one. Documentary memos. These memos are written to subordinates to issue orders, instructions, advices, etc. To inform any change in policy, to explain a procedure to a peer or superior, or even to grant some more percentage of incentive, memos are written. For example, managers need information for preparing plans and taking decisions. For obtaining such information, memos are written to the concerned internal parties. Let us now see one example of documentary memo. First, in the heading, the name of the organization and address are mentioned. Then the label memorandum is used. Next, aligned to the left side of the slide, first the memo number is mentioned. Then we have the 4 standard elements required in a memo, right? Now in this particular example, the managing director has sent a memo to the human resource manager on 12th June 2020 to convey information regarding the change in working hours. So let me now tell something about the main body. The main body should always be super short and to the point. It should convey all the information in the smallest amount of text possible. Also mention the action people should take at the end. Finally, end the memo with the signature of the sender. So you can notice how briefly the information is conveyed in this memo. Next, congratulatory memos. We wish congratulations for expressing praise and approval, right? In the self-same way, congratulatory memos are used to give credit to employees of an organization for their outstanding performance. Let us now see one example of congratulatory memo. In the same way as discussed earlier, here we can first find the name of the institution, address, and the label interoffice memorandum. Here the principal has sent a memo to the head of the departments to convey his hearty congratulations to all his faculties for the outstanding result achieved by their students. So this is how a congratulatory memo works. Third category is disciplinary memos. The adjective disciplinary is related to the purpose of imposing punishment. So you can understand disciplinary memos are dispensed to the employees when they break or disregard rule or convention in an organization. For example, a memo may be issued to an officer who has not completed his assigned work in due time. Let us now see one example of disciplinary memo. Again, we can first find the memo of the name of the organization, address, and the label memorandum. Then aligned to the left, first there is the memo number. Here we can see the human resource manager has written a memo to the supervisor on 2nd August 2020 to convey information regarding deduction of 1 casual leave for 3 consecutive late attendance. So this is how a disciplinary memo functions. So we have learned the 3 categories of memos. We have learned the characteristics of memos, the definition of memo, and now lastly I would like to say that you should remember that both format and content are important, so pay attention to details when composing a memo, right? So that's it. I hope you all have enjoyed this session. Now go ahead and start writing memos. Thank you everyone for your attention.